Welcome to Cabby's on this momentous night, 25 years. Can you believe you've been at it 25 years, Carl? For a guy who's only 40 years old, that means you started, what, when you were 15?
There you go. A little older than that, but, you know, you start out with a dream and season to season, year to year, and you don't want to leave the next season out or the next group of athletes, and before you know it, another year goes by and you start looking at the numbers and you set short-term goals to say, let's do 50 shows, let's do 100 shows, and as you can tell, it's gone on and on.
Here we are. And here we are at Cabby's, one of the real hot spots here in Plymouth. I know they try to keep you out of this place, but you keep on coming back.
There you go. You got one son working here, then another son working here, so he's very near and dear to our family, and we appreciate Cabby opening the doors here for us.
And while the cameras are mostly going to be on us, unfortunately, tonight, we do have to mention the workers here. They have two bartenders back here. I think they're who are they, Julia and Annette, or is it Annette and Celeste back here? Yeah, give us a wave. There they are back there. Oh, no, Julia's the hostess. That was Annette and Celeste, and Kelsey's the server. Kelsey's running. Look, she just came through the door. Is that perfect timing? Look at that. Just give us a wave. She's going to leave now. And Megan's the manager at the front, and of course, we're going to talk to Cabby later on.
Indeed, and you know, another person that's part of this very special night is Nick Coit. Nick is a Plymouth guy, played sports here, went on to Emerson College, did a stint in Maine, and now he's with ABC 6 in Providence, and we want to thank Nick, who we'll be talking to a lot tonight, and he'll be sharing time with our guests.
Another homegrown product, making it big, trying to follow in your footsteps.
There you go. He surpassed me. There you go.
Okay, so do you remember like how this show opened 25 years ago and literally how it opened?
It did open. I think we were telling people Paul Coffin was a co-host of mine at that time, and everybody knows Paul in this area for teaching and coaching for 35 years, and Paul and I did the first 100 shows together, and he got busy a bit more than he wanted to with sports, coaching, left it with me, and the rest is history, as they say. Okay,
I know you gave me about a 42-page script here, but I'm going to get off the script. And every one of the lines says, Carl is awesome. I need to start with that.
There you go.
But we are going to go, actually, and take a look at some of the opens that you've had over the years. How's that sound, all right?
Sounds good.
Let's roll it.
Good evening, and welcome to Adelphia Cable Channel 3. It's time for the video sports page. And I'm Carl Pratt. Health and wisdom from the video sports page.
Wow, Carl, you rocked that stash better than Ron Burgundy, huh? That was nice, man. That was nice. Paul Coffin looking good, too. Hey, it's so great to be part of this tonight. Carl Pratt has done so much for the community. I just want to say that I'm really honored to be here and to be part of this show. So thank you, Carl, and thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. We're here with Carl Fryermuth, who has a long history, as a lot of people do with Carl. One of the most special places, if you're talking about Plymouth, you're talking about sports, you're talking about baseball, obviously, and one of the best places to play baseball, Stevens Field, Carl. What does Stevens Field mean to you and mean to Carl?
Carl Pratt and I have been friends for 50 years, and I first got to know Carl very well at Stevens. He was the statistician for the Sherman's furniture team, was Java Vaz. And I was playing for Tavanelli's at the time. It was a very cold night, and Carl was freezing. And he got into my new Mustang, turned the keys on, put the radio on, and started moving the steering wheel around, and he was very warm. And Carl Pratt and I became very friendly because of that for many years to follow. That was a good time. Carl always held me in high esteem because I let him get into my car.
And you guys used to work summers together, and there's something in my notes here, because I got a long list of notes from Carl, too. It says something about mixing cement. What does that mean?
Carl and I worked with the highway department many years, and they were great times. And Carl was a dedicated worker, and we had some good experiences. Carl's had a great career, and what I did want to mention is starting out with Walter Haskell with the Old Colony Memorial as a sports editor, writing for the Enterprise and the Ledger, and he did a great job covering Plymouth sports, and he did a super job promoting Plymouth athletes.
Yeah, he has done a great job. Carl, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's a very special night, and Carl is a townie, and we're very proud to have him. He's done a lot for the town, and it's great to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. We're going to bring in our next guest after Carl here. This is Mark LaRanger. Mark LaRanger has done a lot for the sport of wrestling here in Plymouth, and I know that Carl was at the first ever North versus South wrestling match. What did that mean for you? Because I know you've built up the program at South, and you really made it into something. For him to be there and to promote the sport, because it's not, your baseball, it's not your big sports in town, but you've done a great job with it, and Carl helped you.
That's why they say it's easy to coach, because nobody knows anything about it, so you go out and coach it, and I bet Carl, when he was there, was voting for North. So I think I do remember him there, and I think those are fine memories. That was a long, long time ago, and we were both starting our programs out, and of course we wanted to beat them, and they wanted to beat us, and Carl tried to stay as partial as he could, but he was voting for North, believe me.
Of course. and Carl, he's one of those guys that he does what he's set out to do. I mean, he'll show up to a practice. In the middle of practice, he'll say, hey, can I interview you? I know you're in the middle and you're really, really busy, but I'm Carl Pratt, so I'm going to interview you. What are your experiences, I guess, with him showing up? Any funny stories you could tell us?
We were getting ready for the state tournament one year, and we're, preseason ranked, I don't know, in the top 3 or 4. So we think we got a chance of winning this thing, and we're preparing. We got in the middle of practice, and Carl's tapping on my shoulder. Mark, I need you. And I'm the only coach in the room, so if I leave, I've got to stop practice. So he bugged me so much, I had to stop practice for about a half an hour, and we ended up not winning it either. We lost, so I think Carl had a lot to do with that.
Oh, uh-oh. Well, persistence is a key thing when you're doing this job, and I know that Carl's done that for many, many years. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much to Carl and all he's done for this community and all the interviews, and kids in this town love him. We appreciate it.
Cool.
Hi everybody, this is Mike Lynch from Channel 5. I'm here at Fenway Park, and I always run into Carl Pratt when I'm down here or at the Garden or at Gillette or at some high school game, and I just want to send out my best wishes to Carl. 25 years as host of the Video Sports Page and counting. Here's to 25 more, Carl. Congratulations. Keep it going.
It's Wick Grosbeck, lead owner of the Boston Celtics, here to congratulate Carl Pratt on 25 years of covering not only us, but everybody who's really doing anything in sports in Boston. Thanks, Carl.
Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Lyons. I played Major League Baseball for 9 years, 4 different times right here for the Red Sox. And I want to congratulate Carl Pratt for 25 years of his promotion of local sports. Carl, great job.
Excellent interview over there, especially doing it on the set of The Little Mermaid, if you didn't notice that. It looks to take that. Oh, the cameras are switched over. Anyway, you'll see the fish back there. This may turn into a roast of Carl Pratt, so we might as well all take our shots whenever we want.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Hit him while you can.
Whether it's approved or not, we're all going to take our shot. But the dedicated worker came out right away from one of your buddies here. And you know what? You have been kind of a bulldog. I know you've been calling Nick and I like every day for the last 2 weeks to make sure we showed up tonight. But you have been a dedicated servant, Mr. South Shore, Mr. Plymouth, and you've covered Plymouth North, Plymouth South. I mean, you've covered every high school and every event almost that's gone on. All the football games between North and South, right?
Exactly. And when you get 2 high schools in the town, you even have to be careful what colors you wear when you go out to do the interview.
Good point.
You get labeled as a North guy, or you get labeled as a South guy.
So how'd you do that? Did you wear a neutral like black or something?
Yeah, there you go. You found your wood. and even you cover duck spray so you wear green, you're in trouble there too.
So going over all of these things that you've covered, high school is so much fun though, isn't it?
Well,
I mean, whether it's Plymouth, Carver, Plymouth North, Plymouth South.
Oh, exactly. And you know at Channel 5 where you guys would do the high five, how much the kids look forward to being featured on their team. And here you go around, if South has a big win in football or Plymouth North baseball wins a state championship, you want to be there because that's the heartbeat of the community. And you almost feel like if I leave this out, somebody's going to be watching and wishing they were there.
You mentioned earlier that how involved Cabby is with youth sports, and not only high school have you covered, but I'm sure you've had a share of your Little League games and everything else, haven't you, around
Well,
here?
it's nice because you do it so long the kids know. When you show up at the field with the camera, they may not know who you are, but they know they're going to be on TV. They've grown up with the show, and it's neat because the kids, they know they're going to go home and watch it, whether they're running the bases or falling on, just to be on there, you know what I'm saying?
Let's take a look at some of the coaches that you have interviewed over the years.
Okay, welcome back to the, what do we want to dub this, the Fish Bowl? Maybe we got the fish? Yeah, we're back over at the Fish Bowl over here at the Cabby Shack, of course, hosting this event tonight, which is such a great place to do this. I'm here with Nancy Richards. She's the executive director of PAC TV, and she's here to say some kind words about what Carl has done for community television here in Plymouth, because of course Cap Sports has been a huge part of that. Nancy, what was it like when you first, I guess, met Carl and he came in and had this idea?
Well, Carl was actually one of the very first people I met when I came to town back in 1997, and he's one of the few people who have been producing an access program for that long. I mean, he's been here longer than I have, and that's kind of, to me, pretty significant. I really think that the most important thing I wanted to say to Carl is that it's because of what he has done over the many, many years that he has been producing this show. He has brought the community together in so many ways. It's a really important thing that he's done. And I'm really, really proud to have been just a little bit of something to help him along the way. You know?
Yeah, it's true. He brings the community together. I mean, he has 14-year-old Nick Coit hitting the ball off the fence at Seaver Field, which I haven't seen that clip yet, but I'd like to see that clip at some point, maybe. I don't know, but it brings the community together. So yeah, it is great. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us.
We're very, very proud of Carl. It's just a wonderful thing, and we're so proud of him, and we're so glad for him to be able to celebrate a 25th anniversary. I do want to say, too, that it's a big achievement to produce an access program for 25 years, but what he has done is even more of an achievement, because he goes out in the field and he interviews people with a camcorder, and then he goes back and edits it together. It is a lot of work, and to do it for such a long time, that's just absolutely incredible.
And he makes sure it looks good, too. Anytime Carl interviews you, he does this. He's okay. All right, get close.
Yep.
All right, no,
Yep.
don't go away.
Don't
Get close.
move. Yep.
Nope, you're
Yep.
floating
Don't
away
move.
from me.
Nope,
No,
nope,
get
nope.
close. Get close. You got to be in the shot. So yeah, he knows what he's doing. He really does.
He really, really does.
Yeah.
And he's a pro.
Yeah, he is. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Nick.
All right, we're going to bring in our next guest. I was looking at all those managers and all those coaches, and it reminded me of that Seinfeld episode when George Steinbrenner's talking about all the managers for the Yankees over, the 70s and 80s. Billy Martin, Billy Martin, Billy Martin. This guy has that kind of personality. This is a guy who would this is Kevin Farrell. Kevin Farrell is a good friend, of course, of Carl's, and he's been a coach here for years. And he claims to be the guy that made Carl Pratt. Is that right?
Well, you go back 25 years ago, that's when Carver opened up, and I believe that I carried him the first few years. The interviews, I talked to him, I coached him quite a bit. You know, who do you think taught him this?
Right, yeah.
Which actually led to my multiple challenges. Every time he got close, I get in a wrestling position, I say, Carl, we're the same height, probably same age and weight. I don't see why we can't go at it on the mat. Matter of fact, wouldn't tonight be the perfect night? I don't know how many times I've challenged him. He's pretty good behind the mic.
We got plenty of floor space here. We got plenty of floor space. There's a ring right here. I mean, we got the lighting set up, so you don't want to take that down.
We got Coach LaRanger. He could officiate.
That's true. That's a guy who can...
I better do it.
So you brought this jacket tonight, too. This is pretty cool. I want you to show this off a little bit, Kevin, and what it means. Yeah.
It was 20 years ago that Carver won the New Englands. It was in the middle of 3 state titles. And Carl and I, we talked a lot those years, and he come in and interviewed a lot of the kids. It was a great run. It was great having Carl around. Carl did a lot for us, so I do appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right, we're going to bring in our next guest. This is Barbara Crawford. Hi, Barbara.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
I'm just meeting Barbara.
Yes.
So I'm just meeting you. So what is your relationship with Carl? How did you meet Carl?
I'll tell you, I met Carl. He is the producer, the videographer at BB&N. My son goes to school in Cambridge. And I walked in the stands the first night of his game, and there was this guy, this gentleman, who helped me up the bleachers. And then I was humming a song, and it was one of the old soul songs, and a Tammy Wynette and another song. And we were just dancing and bumping in the stands. And I said, who is this man? And little
Who is this dancing cameraman?
Exactly. But he is such a pro that now what he has done for my son is just incredible. He made a videotape of his best moves that have opened so many doors for him with college coaches and such demand, that he's such a great friend and a good person. So I'm one of these new people. I'm not a 25-year-old person.
Just about to say, so this happened over the past year, correct?
Past year, absolutely.
So you're 25 and he's still going strong.
There you go, 25 and he's still going strong. We're part of the new era going forward because we're a big follower of Carl's and a big admirer.
So do you know what's going on with your son next year, anything like that?
Well, we don't know, but there are a lot of people talking to him. Yeah.
That's great. Well, Barbara.
Because of Carl. All right.
He helped out Barbara. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
He's a wonderful guy.
He really is. Mike, Carl, back to you guys.
Thanks, Nick. Excellent job. And this is your life. That's what I feel like we're in the middle of here. I'm thinking of long-running shows that would parallel this, like, Gunsmoke, MASH, maybe Ed Sullivan. Maybe you're the Ed Sullivan of Plymouth.
Topo Gigio.
Wow, that really dates us.
Yeah,
Carl.
there you go.
So let's talk about some of the bigger men that you've interviewed over the years. And certainly even much bigger than me.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you look at some of these guys, you look up and say, somehow I'll ask them to sit down, whether it's Zdeno Chara or somebody else. Some of the other guys just look down and say, let's run with it. And I'm thinking, it's going to rain on him before it rains on me.
Yeah, Nick was talking about how you hug everybody. You never hugged me.
No,
maybe that's because you had to hug me like that.
Exactly.
But it's kind of fun. Like, I remember interviewing Manute Bol one time, and he's, 7'7", same thing. You couldn't get too close to him.
No, exactly.
A little scary. I think we have a clip of you interviewing some of your taller interview prospects here.
And you make sure you look close at this.
Okay, I'll watch. Let's roll it.
Give a guy like me time who you've never met before.
Because you had a mic and you asked and you seemed to be respectful. And that's all you can ask these days.
I really appreciate your time, but you know what? I enjoy your game, but I enjoyed visiting with you more. Really appreciate your time.
That's what's up. Good luck to you and your show, man.
Thank you, my man. This is KG joining us this week on the Video Sports page. You guys were up on us 1-0.
Well, it's great. Great interview. Good. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. Patrick Ewing joining us this week on the Video Sports page.
That's why we've taken this opportunity to set this interview up with you. I don't know if Dennis can pick it up, but we're not exactly about 6'3" or 4. What do you stand?
I'm about 6'3" and 1/4. I was just going to say, I've never been interviewed by a guy that's 6'4" or 6'5". When did you put on a couple inches?
We're going to drop down here and get to the normal situation, but I get...
He will give you anything you want to know in the world of sports. Talk to all the people that matter, like me. Carl Pratt is the man to listen to.
I don't know if we can back up the camera and show the difference of me standing on this chair. You've been very accommodating, and we appreciate it. If you had a message, Stace, before I let you sneak away. 5'3" Carl Pratt, 6'11" Bill Walton.
And Carl, that's why you are indeed a giant. It's not how big you are, it's how big you play. Thanks for having me, folks, and peace out.
We'll continue with more, so stay with us. Mike Dowling from Channel 5 giving us a few moments down here at the Pine Hills Golf Club. And I don't know if Timmy can pull it back. First time I interviewed Mike, I stood on a milk crate. Last time he was accommodating. This time we put him in a hole about 6 inches deep. So if you get behind me and get Mike behind me, Tim, he's head and shoulders above me. Can I just get a shot with you, Bill? Can we just get a quick shot with you? Just want to get it. Oh, Lord. There you go. Oh, wow. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good luck. Okay. Good luck.
That was pretty good stuff.
Yeah, you made it
Yeah,
twice.
besides me, but I love Walton. Walton's the great. KG is, and I know Russell is very funny there. That was good. That might have been your best work right there.
No, I like that. That is good.
And you edited, of course, together, so good selection.
No, Dan.
Dan, I'm sorry, Dan.
Dan, leave Dan out.
We're going to hear more from Dan later. Sorry, I apologize, Dan. Carl told me he did all the work for this show, Dan, so I just keep on following the script. So let's talk to Cabby, the man of the hour here, or excuse me, the second man, Carl is.
I was going to say I'm not the man of the hour. I'm very happy and privileged to be welcoming Carl Pratt and be honored to be holding his 25th anniversary of Video Sports page, Carl. You've done a lot for this community, and actually, as myself, 25 years ago, you actually featured me on one of your programs back then when I actually was some sort of an athlete. And what's pretty cool is, 25 years later, now you're featuring some of my kids and some of the programs I'm coaching, and you're honoring them and putting them on there. That's what you've done for this community. Asked me to be here tonight, asked to host you, and it is an honor. I've done a little more homework than some other people here, and I'd like to bring something up. And I dug up a 3rd grade report card.
Wow.
And honestly, this is true right here from Nathaniel Morton School. Right
I didn't
here,
think
Mike.
Carl went to 3rd grade.
Well, I don't know if he made it beyond this, Mike, but this is where we are. And this is something that's going to prove Carl took the right path in his career and everything. Let me read something to you.
How about this shows self-control?
That's it. Well, hey, you gotta listen to this right here.
Thunder. Go ahead.
All right, report card, period 1. Carl is a 3rd grade student. This is what this Carl teacher writes. Carl sees a high. He could do better next time with more effort. He seldom stops talking. I hope he will settle down to business. Period 2. Carl has improved. He still talks constantly.
This is good.
Period 3. This is 3rd grade. It is impossible for Carl to be quiet. He means well and is good-natured. Period 4. Carl is bright and capable of being a good student. His behavior has improved, I'm glad to say. I think there's more interest now that he has had than he's had at the beginning of the year. His biggest problem, he can't stop talking. Carl has been talking his whole life. For the past 25 years, we've benefited from Carl talking. I'm going to fast forward 10 years from that report card.
Wait, want to hear what his parents has to say about that? Seriously, I'm sorry about Carl talking so much. Seriously, that's what it says.
I found another memento.
Wow.
I found his yearbook from 1973.
Oh, no.
All right, I got to thank a few people quietly. 1973. Anyone that knows Carl, he wasn't voted best athlete, evidently. If you know Carl back then, you know him now, he's definitely not voted best dressed. What Carl was voted was, guess, most talkative. Carl knew what he wanted to do. He's taken something that he's loved, and we've all benefited from it. I can't thank Carl enough what he's done for this community. He's taken a passion, and he can be a pain sometimes, but he's taken a passion, and we've all been able to enjoy it because of Carl Pratt. Just recently, I want to give you a little self-history what I have with him. I don't want to brag, but my 9-year-old baseball team with my son on it won the first ever Plymouth team to win the New England regional title.
Wow, excellent.
Carl went out of his way on his next week of interviews after we did this, and everyone know how persistent he can be. He grabbed from players, Big Papi, Johnny Gomes, Tom Caron, announcers. He even got a Yankee, Curtis Granderson, to all wish and congratulate my 9-year-old team. This is what Carl does. That's just a little tidbit of what Carl has meant to this community. I can't say enough about Carl Pratt, and it's a privilege to have you here. And you are one of the people I'm taller than, so I like hanging out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Carl.
I would say maybe for the only time in his life, he might be speechless after that.
That's right.
That's not a bad thing, Mike.
Okay, let's. I think Nick is standing by, ready for not unless you want to add 2 cents worth in, but let's go to another trained professional from Plymouth.
There you go.
Nick with another interview.
I'm here with Roger Silva. He's from Kingston. Football is a big thing for you. I know that he's covered your sons. He's covering one of your sons right now, I believe, Mike. Correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Yes.
So, what is Carl meant to you in terms of football and youth football and even in Kingston? Not even in Plymouth. We're talking about Kingston.
Well, I'll tell you here, Carl has done a lot for me personally, to my family, my kids, and everything. But I'll tell you, most importantly, I met him back in 1992, and at the time there, I was a first-year coach, and I saw Carl at the end of the practice. He comes running over. I got an interview. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. And had I known then how many years ahead of me I'd be seeing him at the end of my season or during my season, I would have never thought it was going to be like this. But I'll tell you, he has definitely boosted the community, not only in Plymouth, but over in Kingston, the Halifax, the Plimptons, the Duxbury. Carl's name is everywhere. And I'll tell you, the things that he's done covering these kids in the communities, and I tell you, it's exciting. It's just overwhelming for, to know that he's such passion that he brings, all right, to the table as far as what he does and how he talks about these kids and promoting these kids. And I'll tell you, he covered me every year for 22 years that I coached. Carl was there, and he interviewed me, and he made sure that he came to me. And I didn't have to call him. I knew Carl would find me, and he did. I can't tell you the other relationships I have of Carl here being when he did work for NSTAR, okay, that I would pull into my driveway. I'm a police officer in Kingston, and I would pull in my driveway while I'm working, and Carl would be leaving out of my kitchen, and I'd be like, how'd he get in my house? And not only would he be leaving, but he would be leaving with what I would call my brownies that my wife made for me that he would take, and all of a sudden it was his brownies. And from this day...
Hey, Roger.
We have a little joke that every time we see each other, make sure Miss Nancy makes me my brownies. And so I want to make sure, Carl, your brownies are in the oven, okay? You need to come by and get those brownies. But
Fantastic. That's a great story. So your kids, obviously, they were on the Video Sports page, and you were on the Video Sports. To see yourself there, to see your kids being featured there, give us an idea of what that was like, because it's such a thrill when a kid sees himself on TV, or you see yourself, and he's giving you this great promotion, giving yourself this great coverage. What's that like? What was it like to see yourself on the Video Sports page?
Well, back then, you got to understand, video wasn't much as it is today. So Carl kind of made these kids feel like stars, and including my son. I think still today, he's 32 years old, and he still has the VHS tape that we can't get rid of a VCR because he has to watch that during the holidays to make sure he puts that in, all right, of Carl Pratt, doing the narrating, okay, commentary there. So it's exciting. It's exciting for these kids. They feel, such pleasure from it, and he does such a great job. And I'll tell you, I have those tapes, and I'll never get rid of them. And some people keep telling me to put them on a DVD, but it's nothing like a VHS tape with Carl.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it. All right, we're bringing in our next guest. Bobby Tao is here with us. Hey, Bobby. How are you? Good to see you, man. All right, so you first met Carl, what, playing softball? Is that how you met him?
Yeah, Carl used to come down when he first started the video sports page. He came down and would, a lot of people that are here played in the Saltwater Softball League, and Carl would come down and video the game.
You would, okay. So what was that like when you first saw this guy come down with a video camera? Well, you guys are playing softball, and all of a sudden this guy shows up, and he's running around, and he's got this camera in your face, and here comes the pitch, but you can't throw the pitch because Carl's right in your, that's you know him.
Well, half of the people there were drinking, so it really didn't matter. So we were all happy to see him.
So it was like a mirage.
Yeah, it was okay.
I can see that. Yeah. Cool. So I guess what has it meant for you to get to know Carl over these years, and have him do things like that?
Well, I've been coaching and involved with Plymouth baseball for over 30 years, and Carl first started coming down to the Little League field when I was coaching in Little League, and I can't, as many people have said tonight, a lot of the kids that he has promoted in Plymouth and the surrounding towns, the smiles on their faces have been phenomenal, and I'm not quite sure whether the parents are happier or the kids, because there's nothing like seeing your own child on TV. And from a personal note, he's covered my son a lot of basketball games, a lot of baseball games, and I know that it means a lot to my son and to my family. So he's awesome. He's awesome. What he's done for the community, for the kids, and the notoriety, it's incredible. It's fabulous.
Bobby, hey, thank you. We appreciate you sharing this.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right, Bobby Towan, I want to say that I remember the first time I was on the video sports page, Carl. I was thrilled. I was sitting there and I see him. He's talking about 14-year-old Babe Ruth, and all of a sudden this guy showed up with a camera and he's shooting the game, and I remember how excited I was to be on the video sports page. So I know these guys were just talking about it, but it really was a thrill for me too. So I share that feeling. Guys, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Nick. And believe it or not, every one of Carl's interviews have not gone perfectly. There have been some mistakes. He's done some stand-ups that he had to do over again. He told me maybe there was just one of these, but we do have one queued up.
Just this reminder, the Plymouth Athletic Hall of Fame will be coming up with its annual banquet, actually semi-annual. What they have is it's every out tonight. Whoop.
See, Carl, that's what you get for cussing.
That's what you get for cussing.
That was your penalty right there. I can't believe it. If you don't cuss, it's a good chance you won't get on a blooper reel. Just remember that. I know you've been in this 25 years, but so one of the every once in a while we get kind of a gem. We try to interview somebody who we think is on their way up. And you did that, I know, about 15 years ago. Went down to the Cape League, went down to the All-Star game, right? Cape League All-Star game, and picked out a player. Did you think you had picked out the best player without giving away who it is?
Well, I think you filmed the All-Star game, and a guy had hit his second home run of the game, and you'd think, hey, let me talk to this guy for a second. Pretty good chance.
Yeah, if you figure you get on his good side, maybe he'll throw you a little something later on when he gets a big, like $150 million contract with the Yankees, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, take a look.
Okay, let's continue with this week's edition of the Video Sports Page. We're here at Fenway Park before the Red Sox play the Yankees in Game 2 of the 2010 season. I got a very special guest with me, and before I tell you who it is, even though I'm sure you recognize this guy, let's take a look at this piece of video. Obviously a big bang, a great way to start this 1999 Cape Cod League All-Star game. Mark Teixeira, great timing, great hit in front of all these people.
Yeah, I got shut out in the home run derby, so I guess I leave one for the game. And, I just go out here and just try to swing the bat, and, something good happened. And it's good that we got off 2-0 lead. And hopefully we can pitch well and play defense and score a few more.
I interviewed you that night, and you were like a kid in a candy store, so happy to hit that home run. And now let's fast forward the clock. 10 years, one of the highest paid players in baseball, highest respected players. How much pride do you take in that?
I take a lot of pride. I've always just tried to play the game the right way, work hard, and I think that the experiences like I had on the Cape, build up a career like that. You learn how to work hard, you play the game the right way, and good things will happen.
Hi, this is Al Leiter with the MLB Network, also the Yes Network, played 19 years in the big leagues. I want to congratulate Carl Pratt for 25 years of excellence in television. Way to go, Carl.
Hey everybody, I am Chris Rose, co-host of Intentional Talk on MLB Network with Kevin Millar, you know, the crazy guy. Well, you know another crazy guy? Carl Pratt, right? His name's Pratt. Pratt. You love him. You know him from the Video Sports page. He's been doing it 25 years. It's Carl Pratt or Pratt? Carl, congratulations on 25 years. That's awesome.
I'm Kevin Millar from Major League Baseball Network. I want to congratulate my buddy Carl Pratt on 25 years doing the Video Sports page. Thumbs up, Big Daddy.
Dave Reardon, come on over, man. Come on over. Dave Reardon. Okay, come on over. Yeah, we'll go over here. How's that?
Good, Nick.
So, Dave, you and Carl have known each other through youth football. When was the first time that you met Carl, that you saw this guy with the camera, this knight in shining armor with a red button on his, when did you see him?
Many years ago, I was coaching a D team in the Pop Warner, the local youth football league, and he asked me if I'd give some thought to maybe being a broadcast partner of his, which we were for 5 or 6 years. I can't believe it's been 25 years in this town, and I see my football coach here, Carl Frymouth, a guy I was in the huddle with, Dwayne Follett in high school, Dickie Silva, Cabby Brini, who I used to babysit. Are you kidding me? It doesn't get any better in Plymouth than it does tonight right now. 25 years of service, something he loves, it's his passion. Thanks a lot, Carl. That show meant everything to us, and you really pulled together the youth community with all the different sports, and he's an icon in this town. Thank you very much.
Institution, icon, I love those words. Yeah, hey, thank you, Dave. Really appreciate it. All right. Great words. All right, bringing in our next guest. What's up, Connor? How you doing? How are you, buddy? Coach? How are you? What's up? See you, buddy. Good to see you guys. Coach Dwayne Follett, Connor Pratt, who is one of Carl's sons, of course. Coach, Carl Pratt over there. He does the same thing to all these coaches. I know you run a tight ship with your practice. You know, you got us in there and you say, okay, well, this is what we got to do. This is what we got to do. This is how we're going to be successful. You're in the middle of all this, and all of a sudden this guy comes in and he says, hey, Coach, I got to talk to you. Coach, I got to talk to you. I got to talk to you. I know. What is that like when he shows up?
It's actually awesome. I've loved it for 20 years. I've been coaching 20 years. Carl, I had a blonde afro when I first started coaching. Now I'm gray and bald, but Carl has been there that long. It's been such a journey. And I want to add, I'm very proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Coity,
thank you.
Best thing I ever did in my program was what, Coity?
Well, let's see. I was the lead in Fiddler on the Roof, and we had about 55 players in the baseball program, and you bought tickets for every single one of them to come see me. Yep. And I always appreciate that. You know I'll always remember that.
One of the best things we've ever done in our program, and it was awesome.
Thanks, Coach.
I'm very
appreciate
proud of you.
Appreciate
I'm proud
that.
of, I got someone else I want to introduce that I'm very proud of. I got to tell you, and I'm not saying this because it's Carl's night. Yeah. I hope everybody hears me in the back, but...
I hope everybody hears Coach in the back.
But I got a cold, but the best thing I ever did as a coach was name Carl's son as my captain this year. It was everybody's bragging about Carl, right? And what's our most important role in life? And once you are one, Nick, you'll know, and that's being a father. Whether you're a coach, whether you're, a broadcaster, most important role in life is being a father. And Connor Pratt is a chip off the old block. He's got passion for sports. I honestly think he's a better person than his father. He's unbelievable.
Really?
He's got all the best qualities of his mother and father, all rolled into one. It's not a big package, but it's a huge heart, and I'm lucky to have him leading my baseball team. And he knows everything about sports, everything. I think they're gonna roll something right now that proves that point.
All right, yeah, let's roll it.
Come over here for a minute. I gotta ask you a question.
What?
Hi. How old are you?
3.
Okay. Who's your favorite team?
Waterloo.
All right, who plays the outfield?
Louis.
Who else?
But next to me.
And who's number 2?
And Yubi.
Who's number 44?
Push.
Who's number 45?
Pedro Martinez.
Who's number 33?
Jason Bellick.
Who plays first base?
Mike Dowling.
Who plays shortstop?
Noah Gibbons.
Huh?
Uma.
Look at the camera and tell them.
Noah Gaia Powell.
And who plays third base?
John Johnson.
And who plays second base?
Jose Opperman.
All right, and who else pitches besides Pedro?
There you go. Good job.
You know, as great as that was, have you ever thought if we would have stressed like science more in our homes and our kids had grown up to be great engineers?
Yeah, exactly.
And be supporting us rather than sports nuts like us?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we talked earlier about you interviewing some of your idols, broadcasting idols, and the first guy, we're gonna take a look at an interview. One of the all-time great newscasters. You don't have to mention his name. One of the most respected, semi-retired now, but still on television. Why don't we roll that right now?
Let's get away from the sports as heroes. Your heroes, your parents. I read your book, and boy, that's something very special to you.
Yeah, it was. It's been a really gratifying experience. I wrote the book as a labor of love, and the response across the country has been well beyond my wildest expectations. And I think the likes of Bill Russell and his teammates are an extension of that generation.
Talk about when you get the opportunity to travel around, not just the country, but around the world, and you're so much in touch with reality.
Well, you know, that's why part of the reason I love sports. It's a great escape for me. I see the excellence on the floor or on the field or in the arena, and you know, I spent a lot of my life documenting the failures of men and women, and when I come to the Fleet Center or go to the Garden or go to any Olympic venue or to a Super Bowl, then I see people doing their best, and we forget our everyday worries. So that's one of the reasons I'm a big sports fan.
Don't those other stations just annoy you when they start to come in and start to steal some of your interview? Carl was the leader and everybody else followed.
It was interesting. That's the first time I thought to myself, I'll get Tom Brokaw. He's over there all by himself. Next thing you know, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. He's one of the all-time greats, isn't he?
Awesome.
Very nice to you.
Yeah, very good. That was the Bill Russell night, and I had it in my mind. I saw the list of people that were going to be there. And I told the guy that was filming, I said, I don't care who I'm talking to. If Tom Brokaw comes in, I want to get him. I'm in the middle of an interview with Rick Pitino, and my guy gave me the signal, and we stopped the interview. I said to Rick, the battery just died here. We'll be back at you. And we went across the room.
The guy looked like he was trying to give you some signals on that one, zooming in and out. So the next guy is one of the all-time great sportscasters that you and I have talked about earlier in this show. Let's go right to it.
Growing up in the Plymouth area, watching NBC Sports, you always heard the name Curt Gowdy calling play-by-play for all the big events. And Curt, if I back up the clock, I used to listen to you and Aldi Rogatis with those old Oakland Raider games.
They were great. The American Football League in those days, that they had those big defensive games, 62-50, 48-47. That was exciting, and we watched it grow up. And when the Jets beat the Colts in Super Bowl III, that was one of my big thrills of my broadcasting career.
Well, let's talk about it. I never had the opportunity to enjoy you doing Red Sox baseball games, but I heard so much about it. You've had an opportunity to cover so many major sports. When you sit back and you're fishing, you're relaxing, what do you think about?
Well, I think how lucky I was. I started Cheyenne, Wyoming on a fluke doing a six-man football game, a local high school game, on a soapbox in the middle of a vacant lot. And when I'd go out to do the Super Bowl or Rose Bowl, I could still see those two soapboxes sitting out in that vacant field. And I thought, Gowdy, what a lucky guy you've been. And that's what I feel about.
What a career he had, from the Red Sox to, like you said, those old AFL games.
That was awesome. When you think about it, you saw the Oakland Raiders playing, it was Kirk Gowdy. You saw the Rose Bowl, it's Kirk Gowdy. The World Series, it's Kirk Gowdy.
So we go from one of the all-time great Red Sox broadcasters to another one of the all-time great Red Sox broadcasters. Let's roll that.
I catch your show almost every week. You get around, and I think it's great that you're doing the things you are doing with the local high schools and so on. That's something that is very special and meaningful to a lot of people.
Well, we appreciate the kind words. It's a foundation. It's my town. It's where I grew up, and a product of the environment. So it makes it especially rewarding, and then to hear your kind words. Before I let you sneak away, how would Ken Coleman like to be remembered?
I'd rather just stick around if it's okay.
You know, Carl, I got to ask you, most of the times when you do interviews, you want to get the emotion of the guy you're interviewing. So the photographer zooms in to the person who has been being interviewed. All these interviews have a two-shot. You're in every single one of them.
There you go.
Was that photographer under specific orders to make sure you get me in that shot?
That's right. So when they flip through that channel, they know who it is. I want them to know they're on the local channel, not seeing something on 4, 5, or 7, especially when they're big hitters
Good
like
for
that.
you. And the mic cube wasn't enough when it said Caps Sports. Okay. So we're staying with the Red Sox theme, and I would say the best way to describe this guy is one of the all-time Red Sox characters. And obviously, his voice will be recognizable as soon as you hear it.
How much do you control the start of the baseball game here at Fenway Park?
Control the game?
Yeah.
Well, actually, a PA announcer has a great deal of impact on the game. I try to boost the guys a little bit. I introduce them so that they feel really that they are being introduced and everybody knows who they are. And it lifts their spirits a little bit, I would say. They like to be mentioned, and they like the attention. And, of course, the only time I don't make a big deal about them is when they make an error in the field. When they do that, sometimes I don't even mention their name. They want to walk up there unobtrusively. They don't want to be noticed. Well, how are you going to do that in front of 35,000 people?
Those last 3 clips, last 4 clips, you probably could have run them without any video, and you'd know immediately who all those people were. Indistinguishable voices.
No, exactly. And Sherm was such an icon himself, and you saw him with a Patriots jacket.
Right, which was up to date then. When
yeah,
he was
exactly. And he got that jacket from Kenny Sims. When Kenny Sims got mad at the Patriots and left the team, Kenny Sims was living with Sherm Fella, and he says, "Take all my Patriot stuff." There you go.
That sounds like it could be a scandal.
There you go.
Okay, so the next guy is, I think he has worked himself into the Mount Rushmore of New England athletes forever. I'm not sure who's on that list. We could argue that, just another discussion, but certainly this guy is.
Talk about the off-season, how much fun it's been for you this year, even though you've got to get back focused again.
It's been exciting. I mean, it's been a good off season to kind of get back focused and get back to playing football. And we had a good mini camp last week, and everyone's excited to really start up and get going. And,
how about the idea, like I mentioned to Lawyer, it's BP for the Boston Red Sox. They're in first place, but a lot of attention is on a couple of Patriots.
Yeah, they got 162 games. They got 162 games, and it might break up the monotony a little bit for them. So.
How about for you, Tom? What about the injury with the shoulder? That behind you now?
Yeah, shoulder feels good.
How about the idea of the golf game? I heard you on EEI the other day. They were joking with you about your golf game.
Yeah, my golf game is way behind my football. Thank God. Thank God I'm a football player, not a golfer. Else I'd be broke.
It was funny. I'm at Fenway and talking to all the Red Sox players, and I look over and I said, "Here's Tom Brady taking batting practice." But that was after his first Super Bowl win. So I don't think you'll be out there doing that anymore.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, okay, now we're going to go another interview. Nick from Channel 6 fame in Providence.
So I got a guy who is like a father to Carl. This is Dick Silva. And I know he just said to me, he's got a lot to say because obviously you've got some stories, you've got some things to tell about Carl Pratt. So Dick, go for it.
Well, I go, being the oldest individual here, I have more experience with Carl. Carl Fryman spoke about meeting Carl at Stevens Field. That's where I met Carl, only it was probably about 4 years before Carl met him. I'll describe Carl as a gym rat who wore U.S. Ked sneakers that were torn, running all over the place, looking for foul balls, and being a real pain in the butt to most everybody that was there.
Yeah.
We became friends. He traveled with me to different places when I played ball. He could talk his way into anywhere, and everyone liked him. It was easy to like him because he never shut up. As people have said today, was his report card said, he didn't know when to shut up. I'll tell you a brief story. He was at my house. He was my children's babysitter, believe it or not, and he would raid my refrigerator. So when I got home, I had nothing. But he was over my house, and I was attempting to change the oil in my car. And I'm not the most mechanical person. And he would not stop talking and bugging me. And I said, Carl, shut up. As I was pouring 5 quarts of oil in my car engine, he was quiet.
Yeah.
Well, I looked down, and 5 quarts of oil was going down my driveway because I forgot to put the screw on the bottom. I says, Carl, why don't you say something? Well, you told me to shut up. That's a true story, and he knows it, okay? Wow. Another quick story. He was over at my house, and we had a water fight.
Okay.
Hoses in my house. I could not get him. He soaked me, soaked my house. Well, I snuck around, and I put this huge bear in the back seat of his car. We closed the doors, and all we heard was this scream. He was so scared of it, he ran. He'll tell you it's a true story.
Yeah.
On a serious note,
Yes.
a lot of good things have been said about Carl today, and they're all true. He's been a lot to this community, a lot to the kids all the way up. In the last 25 years, he's made a lot of kids and a lot of parents feel good. And you know, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is there's no Carl Pratt in Kingston. There's no Carl Pratt in Marshfield, Duxbury, Middleborough. We're very, very lucky to have a guy like this who runs from sport to sport in one day, just like he ran around Stevens Field. I was with him at the Plymouth game this week. He was running from the game, trying to film everybody, including his son, and then running over the hill to film the lacrosse game between North and South High School, and was able to get the tying goal to tie the game. I mean, that's Carl. Yeah. He's still running.
And go figure, my sister's on that North team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Go figure.
He's a great guy. He's been a great friend. We go back, and I could tell you so many stories. Yeah. Some I can't tell here. Carl, thank you. You're a good man. Good for this community. Keep it up.
Dick Silva. Hey, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Nick. You know, his play-by-play is so accomplished that we actually used it on Channel 5 a number of times. We'd bug him to get tapes of Plymouth North or Plymouth South or something big that happened down here, and we'd use it all the time. And it wasn't just to laugh at you either. It was credible stuff. Anyway, we want to bring in Dan Rodriguez here, Director of Operations, and in charge of this, trying to make us look good. And I noticed you didn't bring a makeup person, and that was a lost cause for us. But anyway, everything else looks good.
That's my wife. She was busy today, so thanks, Paul. I want to thank Cabby for letting us completely decimate his dining room here to pull this off. I just wanted to come up and say a couple of words. Carl kind of touched on it earlier, that we've known each other for a long time. In fact, almost as long as I've been in the field. And just out of school, having some freelance work under my belt, his was the first TV show that I actually directed for the masses, you know, that more than a couple of hundred people are going to watch. And ever since then, he was always very encouraging about, you know, developing my skills and so on, and helped me kind of find what I'm good at, you know. Went away for a few years, came back, and he was still going strong. I came back to start Pack TV with Nancy Richard, who we spoke with earlier. And there was Carl chugging along, you know, and never changed his stance, never changed his priorities, was always there for the community, you know. And to this day, I'm still overwhelmed by and just blown away by how much energy and commitment that he has to what he does, you know. There isn't a big paycheck at the end of the week for what he's doing here, you know. This is just for families and kids and exposing the community to what's going on in their own schools, and then he sprinkles the national stuff in there and gets to establish relationships with the guys like you, and he's created a network of support in the sports community here on the South Shore. You know, that's
and everywhere.
Yeah. Really, and it's unmatched. I don't know of anybody in the access world or even in the professional world who has made this kind of grassroots network and commitment in the community. So, Carl, again, I'm amazed at what you do and that you've been doing it for so long. Thanks for letting us do this for you. I thought it'd be a nice way to pat you on the back and say thanks and shine a light on you for once instead of you doing all the work. And I know it's been making you bananas and you haven't been able to do all the work yourself. So thanks for trusting in me, trusting in the crew here. And Mike, I mean, you coming down out of your schedule and lending some, you know, another level of I don't know, I guess professionalism, no offense.
There you go.
It's nice to see the pairing, you know, on both ends. So I really appreciate your time, you coming down. And it's going to be a fun show to watch.
Yeah,
you know?
My pleasure. As soon as he called me and asked me, I said, sure, and he stayed on me. I had a little trip out there, but he stayed on me, and I wouldn't miss it. And, you know, I would just like to say, you can really tell when a person really loves his work, the passion that goes into it, because it's good quality work. And that goes for both you guys, really. So, you know, good for you guys. Congratulations to both you guys.
Thank you.
And I mean, it really is. The South Shore's lucky to have you guys here, really.
We certainly appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's the easy part to get the highlights and talk to the coaches, and whether you're sitting behind a team's bench or you're sitting on your own porch, but he can make it look like we're right there with ESPN or CBS or ABC, and you know, that makes you feel like you've arrived as well. You know what your surroundings are.
Well, you can tell you guys love what you do because it shows in your work, the quality work, really. And it's an honor to be here to honor you, 25 years, and everybody, the whole crew, good job always. And I guess the only way to really finish this show is the way that you finish every show for 25 years. So look straight into that camera and talk like you mean it. Let's see, which camera should you look at? You're directing right here from here. Right there, too? Okay, look in there and tell them like you mean it.
Well, a special thanks tonight goes out to Nick Coit from ABC 6, my broadcast partner, Mike Dowling, and of course our producer, Dan Rodriguez, and everyone behind the scenes that made this special edition of 25 years of the Video Sports Page get on the air. I've been your host, Carl Pratt. Health and wisdom from the Video Sports Page.
Thank you.